Conversippin! Yes! Hi. So, Alan, you are a stage player, actor, also production operationalist?
I'm actually the newly elected president of the board of directors for a nonprofit.
Oh,
we do like
that. No, we love people to give back to the community.
Yes.
And we thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So are you a wine person? Let's start there.
Absolutely.
Good, because you're drinking it.
Because today we are drinking. Oh, this is Oak Leaf. We've gone back to Oak Leaf, a steady favorite of ours. This is a Chardonnay. It's a little oaky. Oak Leaf. So she definitely recommends the Oak Leaf Chardonnay. Actually, I really like this one. And it was, what was the other one that we had? The Pinot?
I think it was the Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio?
Yeah.
So those two, very, very well received here. Very well received. Please feel free to send us more. DM us. All of our stuff is in the thing. And, just find us and send us wine and money. Lots of money. Because we like money.
All right. So today we want to talk about, so I think we should talk about perceptions. So like, how you perceive things or people or anything, really.
Yeah.
Everything's a perception, I feel.
Yeah.
So.
I like that. And Alan, you work in two very different kind of spaces. You have industrial, kind of very business production-based environment at work, and then you also have this artistic, creative, theatrical space.
But I feel like there's the production side of the arts as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you feel that your perspective has to change as you move between spaces?
In my normal work, it's a business, right? We're manufacturing medical products that are used in healthcare facilities. Whereas in the
frontline workers.
Exactly. Essential work, as they like to call it. But in the arts, it's more creative, and everyone is a volunteer, right?
Yeah.
No one is being paid to do this. So it is a different environment because you have people that are using their time to volunteer for the community.
Yeah. Do you feel as though, as you transition between spaces, that others' perspective of you changes?
Well, in both settings, you still have to be professional.
Yeah.
It's just, at a medical products company, you don't have as much of an avenue to be as creative as you can if you were performing on stage and everything.
So it's like strictly like that. It's like by the book when you're in the medical.
Exactly. Yeah. But where in the theater world, it's for fun, but at the same time, people can be judgmental.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, if you go to auditions, for example.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Auditions, you go up there and you sing and you feel like you are living on the stage, and then someone goes after you and they do their audition and they end up being cast, and you're like, I know I was better than them. I know I sang my song better.
I did my dance better. I had it more hip in my shape.
I definitely feel that. I wonder if, as just me personally, so I also work for a nonprofit called the Gifted Arts, which I might have mentioned before. Definitely give us money. There's a post on Facebook.
Contribution button somewhere on the website.
We'll add the link, don't worry. So we help build confidence for school-age youth through the performing arts, and that is acting, dancing, fashion, but in my day-to-day life, I'm a financial analyst at a Fortune 500 medical insurance company. I definitely feel that I think the arena, in that arena, I'm always very cognizant about the perspective that I am giving other people, and because really that your perspective is reality, right? So perspective is reality. So I don't want to paint a reality ever that diminishes my brand. So when I transition, like in my workplace, I'm very professional. I am I like to have fun, but there's like no profanity, no like lewd, grotesque jokes. It's always very like by the books, and then we can laugh and whatever. And then in my nonprofit space, since we deal with kids, I'm kind of like the same. It's kind of like the same guard.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be grotesque because these are young children, mostly female. So I don't want to like
multiple minds.
Right. How about it? And I know how impactful I can be. And I never want them to say like, Rafiq was doing this, and then I'm gonna be, I'm gonna grow, and I'm gonna be this person. So I never like twerk or never do anything overtly sexual with them. And so in my particular instance, that lens of perspection is similar between those two spaces because I want to kind of like keep that same image. But if I could see like if I was on the other end of it, right? If I was in the theatrical role, like be expressing on stage, I might be a little different, just based on the role that is required. And I wonder what challenges might arise from that. How do you separate yourself from the role? When do you ever get to turn off the actor? Do you turn off the creative lens and switch to that professional kind of business-minded kind of perspective that you want to give off?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I, for one, like my workspace is very flex, so I feel like I'm the same at home and at work.
Yeah.
When I do stuff, and when as I'm a leader of different sports in the community, volleyball and kickball, and all of those, I run teams, and I'm just myself, but not to a point where it comes off brass or like, or lewd, as you said earlier. Like I have my playful moments, but I'm also that serious type, and I think I'm just like that all the time, wherever, with whomever. So I don't think I really change a lot. So the perception of me is the same apparently everywhere we go. But I want to switch gears and talk about the perception of how others think of you in the community. So you may think, well, I'll take myself for example. Like I, have been through trials and tribulations to get to where I'm at with my, I have my own house, and I am, like I said, a leader of different sports and various things. But there comes a time where your name is out there so much that those that think they know you talk about you as if they do.
Yeah.
And so, for example, like say I was to talk to someone on Tinder. Let's just say Tinder. And that person's chatting with me, and then like going well, conversation's going well, whatever, and then they, I guess, share because they're starting to feel a certain way, maybe an attachment or some sort, and they want to meet, so they share it with their friends. They show it to someone that they're friends with or whatever, and that person thinks they know me. So therefore says what they think is true, and then persuades that person to not even interact with me anymore, because their perception of me is different than what I actually am.
Yeah.
So that's like, how does one deal with that? It's like if it's such a powerful feeling that certain people can have about you without you even knowing, how do you like change that perception?
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I run into that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated problem.
Yeah.
I I have said time and time again, I'm an energy person, so but you can only affect change on the energy that you control.
Yeah.
So
I don't control Tinder.
more importantly, you can't. Yeah, no one can really control another person's perspective of you.
Mm-hmm.
So their perception, it's going to be based on the interaction,
Yeah.
either with you or their observation of you with someone else. And that observation can be oral, it can be visual, it can be um, physical, even. But if and then to add to the complexity of that, I think that other contributing factors influence your perspective, right?
Yeah.
So, hearsay is one of those things. Your emotional reaction to that person or that action, any implicit bias that you may have would also shape that initial perspective.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say, hey, person A thinks this thing about me and I want to change that. And in my experience, the only thing that I can do that I have seen without driving me crazy is to control the interaction that I have with that person. So I know that a lot of people think I'm a whore. I don't know why. I've traded my stilettos in a long time ago. But I guess once a streetwalker, always a streetwalker, whatever. Look, let me tell you something. I don't regret it because I had to do what I had to do. And streetwalkers get money, so y'all can say whatever y'all want to.
She was making bank.
How about it? Because I was getting paid. But a lot of people think that I'm a whore, and so I have been very cognizant about that fact. And I guard the interactions that I have with those individuals, that I have become privy to the knowledge that they have that perspective, or they act as though that makes me feel they have that perspective. And so my actions with them personally are contrary to that, which changes their perspective.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that I can think of that you can do. But if we start talking mass, perspective, that's hard to change that.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm all about stressing about what you can control. So you act in the way that you feel is appropriate and is right with your spirit, and then the rest of the world either comes to terms or comes to grips.
And I think
or they don't.
That's sort of where I'm at with all that, anyways. So what's your take on that, Alan?
Well, I would say that perhaps if more people approached perception to change the way that exists, is if you could have an open mind.
Yeah, okay.
Don't allow what other people say about someone to give you a preformed perception.
A prejudgment.
Yeah.
Prejudgment. So, if you just open yourself up to meeting someone new and actually taking the time to get to know them, then you can make your own decision about what their character is, instead of letting other people's opinions about that person sway.
I fully support that, and I also feel like that applies to friendships, relationships, coworkers, all the things. It's almost like even parenting. Like, 'cause, they feel like in their mind they have a set way that your child's supposed to be raised and grow up and do things and blah 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 blah. But having an open mind allows that perception to change over time versus it being stagnant and stuck in where it's like at the beginning.
Yeah.
I, for one, agree with you. It's like, because I'm the type of person that, say I just met you two, right? And we hung out with y'all seem cool, whatever. I start talking to my friend about you guys, and they're like, oh, you're hanging out with them? That's the first thing they say.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they explained to me what they did, blah, blah, and blah. Okay, well, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. they haven't done that type of thing with me in person, I'm going to continue being around you guys and getting to know you, because I like to form my own opinion of someone versus hearing hearsay.
Yeah, same.
Hearsay is the worst when it comes to perceptions.
Same. Yeah, I'm with that. I never take sides, and I always like to let the person condemn themselves.
Yeah.
But there have also been times where the story or the perception was so gross that I've not taken the chance of letting them condemn themselves and have said, oh, okay, well. But there have been times where the perception was so gross. In instance, somebody was known to do something very, very vile. I won't say it on camera, but it was very vile. It was so vile, in fact, that I had said that I would limit my interaction with said person.
Mm-hmm.
But not, but never actually openly bash them. It was just really just like, it comes to a point where, I draw.
For you.
For me, I would have to draw the line here until I observe otherwise. Well, I guess it's kind of like giving them the chance to condemn themselves, but not like openly. So it's not like I'm going to create the bridge for them to like reach out to them and then like directly observe. It was more of, I am drawing this line in the sand, and I'm not going to interact with this person outside of these confines. And it was a very social kind of like line in the sand. So if I saw them in person, I would still be like cordial.
Yeah. I would never ignore someone purposely if they haven't done something directly to me that I didn't enjoy.
No one says that you don't have to be cautious when interacting with other people.
Oh, yeah. I feel like listen to what is being said and then form your own opinion based on how you're interacting with them, but look for those signs of what has been said.
Right.
I'll look for them, but if they don't appear, then...
Have you ever had the situation, this happened to me, where you have interacted with a person, and someone had said something, some red flag that they had said that you didn't notice, but as soon as they said it, you noticed it?
Oh, yeah, I've had that happen. I have overlooked something, and then someone says something, and then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. How did I not see that?
It happened very recently with me with, I won't say his name, but the public servant that has recently came under scrutiny for, I think it was sexual abuse.
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I talked to a mutual friend and he had expressed some of the things that he saw, and then I was instantly like, oh yeah, I've seen that, and instantly swept it under the rug. But I think that brings us back to our conversation about toxicity and the discovering when we exhibit toxic attributes, such as sweeping red flags that would normally be vile and grotesque, and sweeping them under the rug because me personally, I instantly justified it because there was alcohol was involved.
Yeah.
Not to say that alcohol justifies you from.
I also think we have a blindness to our desires.
Yeah.
Our desires create a blindness in us. Like, say that we meet somebody and we are desiring something more than what we have, so therefore we don't see all the things in front of us when it's happening because we want this one particular thing that they're providing.
I think that can apply to relationships and friendships as well.
Because
you're
absolutely.
blinding yourself to their actions, and so you're not seeing the red flags because
they're a constant in your life that you're looking for.
Or your desire is your
desire is to have this friendship.
So I'm gonna excuse my look at this guy. I was like, we don't waste alcohol over here. What happened, girl?
I missed my mouth.
That happens. You know what? That happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you miss your mouth. It's
Oh,
all right.
I'm so sorry, Alan. You were saying something really good.
I was saying it can apply to friendships or relationships
Mhm.
because, you know, friendship, I'm getting this friendship with someone,
Yeah.
this closeness, whereas in a relationship you can ignore the red flags
Yeah.
because you're getting that closeness with
Yeah.
someone.
Have you ever had a situation where you have allowed your perception of a person to cloud your judgment of that person?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Like, you know, I've had people be one way around me, and then we get in a different area with other people, and they completely change. But because most of my perception of that person is just me and them, I overlook what they do around other people.
Yeah.
Because what happens between me and them, it's fine. So then I'm like, oh, that's fine. It's not us, it's him with them.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. I think we also have to guard ourselves from that, because that allows. I think it creates an opportunity of unnecessary hurt.
Yeah.
As we are big on healing
Mhm.
and self-love, and along with that comes with the questions of what are my perceptions about a person, an individual, and why do I have them?
Yeah.
And the why is the most important question, right? Because it's really when you start to ask yourself, why do I think of this person this way, that you dial to the root. Is it because of hearsay? Is it because of something? Is it really something that I want to happen that isn't going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
But I want it so bad that I'm going to let it cloud what they are already telling me through their actions.
Y'all, that's real deep.
That is. And that was just on Glass 2. So you're welcome. It's free of charge.
Yeah, so perception is a huge thing in everyone's life,
Mhm.
in every situation.
Yeah. And then let's talk about this is a major thing. I'll leave it on this because it's gonna be super deep. Some of you are gonna drown. It's gonna be alright. You can just hit rewind and listen to it again. How do you perceive yourself?
So deep. Well, I'll go first with that question and answer. I perceive myself as someone who tries to do good in every aspect that I get in. At work, I'm an overachiever. In my friendships, I try to be there for them as much as possible. And then as just in general with people that need help, even if I know them or not, I'm that person that's like, I want to help you. I'm a fixer. I'm Olivia Pope.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally Olivia Pope when it comes to that, because I literally want to know what's wrong, and I want to come up with a solution for you to help you achieve that, to get over it. And that's how I am. But then when I look in the mirror, I don't see someone that's attractive. I don't see someone that is, sometimes I don't even see myself as something being worthy of the certain things that I get in my life. And so, you know, going through those battles myself, so the perception of myself is that I know that I'm a good person and I do these things, but I also look at myself as someone that's not, you know, someone that can achieve everything that I want. And I think it has something to do with being single almost 10 years too. It's like, I feel at this point, is it me? Instead of finding flaws in others, am I just doing that because I'm not happy with myself inside when I look? So, which is probably true. So, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, perception of myself. I will do bend over backwards for those that are around me, but for myself, I forget to take care of me.
Yeah. And I think that's common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan, how do you perceive yourself?
I'm really shy in social settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm most comfortable with people that I'm familiar with. You know, I'm familiar with you guys, of course, but you know, so that shyness overtakes me when I'm in large crowds of
Yeah.
people. And of course, that's something that I've been working on in the last year. You know, I joined Stonewall and I played kickball with
I was his captain.
El Capitan here. So I
Go
would,
pitch crabs.
Woo! I'm an honorary member.
Yes. So that was my way of trying to open my shell, you know, and
Yeah.
be more social and be around people. So
And I do want to chime in on that, is that he came in with the perception of kickball as, what is this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? But each week he excelled in what he was doing. I think he ended up getting you got the home run, got to home base
Yeah,
at
I
one
did.
place, yes.
that was
And
exciting.
so, and like doing that, that's just such a rush, and you're being that person that was your leader and your guidance in it, like seeing that, those moments of achievements, and it's just like, oh, I just want to like just take you and like crush you, because I'm like, you did it. And it's like I get so happy, and I think that's what honestly, I think that's what makes me happy, is seeing others happy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think of my own happiness at all half the
Yeah.
time. But yeah, so yeah, you did good with that.
So yeah, that's my perception of myself. Like I'm an introvert, so you know, it's hard for me being social in larger crowds.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that you can work on your own perception of yourself
Absolutely.
and changing that if you work on it.
Yeah,
So
no.
if
And I think that that's like kind of the first step of showing yourself love, is to understand or be cognizant of how you view yourself, so that you can change that view, you know? And a lot of times we focus on, and be it because of social media or marketing in general that promotes this stigma, this kind of model of the happy life, which isn't based on any kind of truth. But be that or any other outside influence, a lot of times we form this vision of optimal self that isn't realistic or something that can be attainable. So I think that in the first step of self-love is realizing where your perception aligns with that thing that will never happen. Forgiving yourself for not hitting that expectation, and then changing the expectation
Yeah.
to something that you can hit. Which is harder. It's harder said than done. It's a very rough path. But I will take a quote from Jada and say that we have all been in entanglements.
Ah, yes, August.
We have all been in entanglements, both interpersonal and external.
Mm-hmm.
But those entanglements are all opportunities for us to realize the strength that we have within, and change our expectations of ourselves.
What also makes you realize is the struggles too. Like, it opens the door to realizing your struggles, your achievements, your things that you want to, excel at. Ness, you haven't answered your perception of yourself.
Oh, did I not?
No.
Have I not? Okay, so, I mean, in the beginning, I perceived myself, and this is going to be real heavy, but prepare yourselves, get your pillows, hold them tight. In the beginning of my, especially in my transition, I perceived myself very poorly. So I felt like I would never be the quote-unquote man that society expected me to be. More importantly, my mother or my family expected me to be. And it wasn't until recently that I came into this, like, that I don't need to be what they expect me to be. So I currently perceive myself truly as the goddess that I am. So I perceive myself to be a goddess, and I feel like that has helped me materialize the wants that I want. And I don't know if this makes any sense, but a lot of crazy shit happens. To me that doesn't, I mean like crazy good shit. Like crazy good shit happens to me that I feel shouldn't happen to me. And sometimes my biggest struggle is reconciling this good that is happening, or these things that happen that propel my life, and I just feel like I don't deserve it. Like I haven't done any work.
You put down the things that you're achieving
to happen, but keep in mind, I still do perceive myself to be a goddess. So and I guess that if we're talking spiritually, I just feel like since I have honed into this image and have embraced this image of self, that the universe just kind of like aligns things to work out in ways that shouldn't work out. If I can give just one example, I didn't pay a deposit for my last 3 apartments.
Wow, that's awesome.
And every single one of them sent me a check after I moved out.